In Texas, we have a saying that start a fight you can't finish. Well, someone should have told Tina Mallory that before she tried to run me off land my family's owned since before she was born. Yeah, that actually happened. My name's Colton Briggs, and for 3 generations, the Briggs family has worked this stretch of Texas dirt. I run cattle, fix my own fences, sign deeds older than Tina's entire makeup routine. And one day, a 29-year-old HOA chair thought her bylaws could trump actual property law on my land. Let me back up a sec. I'm not talking about some pretty little hobby farm. This is a real ranch. 500 acres, 200 head of cattle, and enough hay to feed half the county through a drought. My granddad came home from the war and built this place with his own hands. My daddy grew it, and now it's mine. Every morning, 5:30 sharp, I'm out on the porch, coffee in hand, looking out over what 3 generations carved from Texas soil. It's not just a job, it's our legacy. So 2 years back, the trouble started. Some developer throws up a subdivision Pinewood estates right across the old fence line. 47 shiny houses, lawns manicured to the HOA standard, mailboxes matched like soldiers on parade. I didn't mind the newcomers at first. More folks meant more business at the feed store, more tax for the schools. But you ever notice how every group has one person convinced they're running for mayor? That's Tina, rolled in from Austin, always in a distressed red sweater and khakis with fake holes, clipboard glued to her hand. She talks about community standards and protecting our children with more rules than the IRS. She gets herself elected HOA president before you can blink. First time I meet her, I'm loading 50-pound feed bags at Cooper's General Store. She struts over, introduces herself with that concerned smile, and immediately starts in about concerns from the new residents. Said my cattle were bringing down property values, that the smell and noise might hurt kids' health. You know what I told her? Ma'am, that smell is the tax money that built your kids' school and paved your roads. She writes notes on her clipboard like she's building a case. Then 3 days later, I get an official HOA letter full of TV legal words like environmental impact assessment and community wellness standards. Claim my ranch violated noise ordinances and air quality regs that don't even exist. But here's where it turned. Suddenly, cars started creeping past, people snapping photos of my barns and pens. My neighbor Lois lived next to us 40 years, said she'd seen folks measuring with tape, scribbling in notebooks. It wasn't curiosity, it was recon. Tina was cooking up a full-blown case, and I realized she wasn't just a busybody, she was building a war. And let me tell you, she went all in. Facebook pages pop up, Pinewood safety concerns loaded with dramatic photos of my ranch. Who will protect our children? She whipped up manufactured outrage, and before I knew it, neighbors started avoiding me. People who used to wave now drove past with eyes forward. I found myself sitting on the porch one night, clutching her letter, remembering my granddad's old words. This road doesn't just lead to our house. It's the reason they're afraid of your granddaddy. I never understood that before. So I started digging. I went through granddad's old desk tax receipts, vet records, then at the bottom, a folder labeled Property Documents, Original Survey. There, buried under years of dust, I found it. A surveyor's map from 1986, official deeds, and letters from the county. Turns out, when Granddad sold 50 acres back in '85 for future development, he made sure the deed guaranteed that any new houses would never interfere with ranch operations. More than that, the survey showed Pinewood Estates wasn't even on the land he sold. They'd built their whole development on Briggs' land, never transferred, never authorized. So Tina's over there threatening to evict me when her own fancy subdivision is squatting on my property. The next morning, I checked county records. Sure enough, those 50 acres were still in my family's name. Meanwhile, Tina keeps pushing, escalates to real lawyers. She hires Lauren Beckett, who's got a reputation for twisting facts to suit whoever's paying. Letter after letter rolls in, accusing me of everything from nuisance to environmental terrorism. I'm told to cease all livestock operations in 30 days or face legal action. All the while, Tina gathers petition signatures, whips up the neighborhood with stories of poison water and falling property values. But you know, when the truth's on your side, all you need is patience and paperwork. Turns out every Pinewood Estates homeowner had signed, in big yellow highlighted print, an acknowledgement they were moving next to an active cattle ranch. No fine print, initials required. The developers even used my cows in their brochures, selling country living, real working ranch next door. I brought in Jim Crawford, an old-school AG lawyer, and laid it all out: surveys, sales contracts, easement agreements. He just laughed, said, "Colton, I've never seen a more clear-cut case of trespass and legal overreach." Around then, a new ally showed up. Carol Jenkins, the HOA secretary, called me in tears. Said Tina had lied, made up citations, even faked county complaints to scare folks into line. Carol had it all recorded. And just when Tina thought she could win by going nuclear, she filed a bogus health department complaint. Brought out the inspector's clipboards, stern faces, the works. I prepared, of course, barn spotless, records perfect, every shovel hung straight. Inspector Rodriguez took one look, checked his boxes, then apologized for wasting my time. Said, "You're in the top 5% for cleanliness. Whoever filed this just doesn't like Cattler the truth." He even hinted I should file for harassment. But Tanashi wasn't done. Called an emergency HOA meeting, thinking the health report would prove her right. I walked in with Inspector Rodriguez's clean bill, county records, and a map showing their parking lot was built right on Briggs land. You could feel the room shift as I laid out document after document. Neighbors realized they'd been duped. Carol stood up and admitted she'd been forced to record false minutes. Derek Nash confessed he'd signed things blind. Family after family withdrew support. Some even apologized. The board voted to suspend all anti-ranch action, pending a full review. Next day, I had orange survey stakes hammered in, ordered private property no trespassing signs for every inch of the disputed line, and sent certified letters offering Pinewood Estates families monthly parking leases $400 per household, or else walk a quarter mile to your front door. Phone rang off the hook. Most folks were ready to make peace, finally seeing who actually held the cards. Tina? She hired another lawyer, this one from Dallas, who fired off threats about extortion and interference with property rights. Jim answered with a polite letter, attached all the disclosures, and invited them to court. Then the Texas Attorney General started investigating the HOA for misuse funds. Tina had paid over $4,000 in legal fees from the Treasury, never approved by the board. She tried to flip the script, went to the local news as a victim, single mother bullied by a rich rancher. For a hot minute, headlines looked bad until reporters saw my documentation, health reports, and heard from residents who'd switched sides. Tina's story fell apart under the weight of hard facts and her own community's outrage. Within a month, her support was gone. Carol Jenkins took over the HOA, the board held new elections, and residents negotiated reasonable parking agreements. The monthly fees went down, funds went to improving roads and lighting, and suddenly my dangerous ranch was hosting school trips and barbecue fundraisers. Tina's house went into foreclosure, and she moved out, banned from HOA leadership by court order, staring down fines, lawsuits, and a pile of IRS questions. One morning, months later, a note showed up: no return address, just Mr. Briggs. I was wrong. I hope the community can move on in peace. Signed, simply Tina. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a little bit sorry for her. She picked the wrong fight, but maybe she learned something. Now Pinewood Estates is better than ever. We've got new friendships, real respect, and every family in the subdivision understands know your property lines, know your rights, and never let bullies win by shouting the loudest. Some people never learn not to start what they can't finish, but I'd say everyone in our little corner of Texas got a real education. What about you? Ever tangled with an HOA, fought for your land, or seen neighbor drama go nuclear? Let me know in the comments where you stand on property rights, community, and what real justice looks like, because I'll tell you, sometimes the right thing isn't always the easiest thing, but it sure is the most satisfying when you see it through.